Hey everybody, it's Seth from Comingouttarot. I'm getting ready to take care of all the ferrets and their medicine this morning. If you know me, you know we rescue ferrets. But while I'm here, I was having these thoughts around the word queer and why I've started using it more. And so I wanted to talk about why I'm reclaiming that word for myself, my own sense of self. Because there's a lot of opportunity in our lives for labeling, for other people to label us, to label ourselves. I mean, we're all kinds of things, right? We start out as maybe who we are, being given a name. Then if we have siblings, we're in relation to the sibling, we're a brother, we're a sister, we're a son, we're a daughter. And then later, whatever we choose to incorporate into our lives, those tend to become other labels. I'm left-handed, I'm a left-handed person. And then at different points, we choose being gay, straight, queer. Actually, you may not choose being straight, you probably just accept it, and then the rest of us have to identify what's different about us or why we feel different than everyone else. And when I was growing up in Oregon, in a small town north of Portland, on the very northwest corner of Oregon, between Oregon and Washington on the Columbia River, near Astoria. When I was growing up, there was this neighbor kid who was, I think he was 14 at the time, and I was maybe 7. I would like to think that this was probably a first crush, probably. And his name was Scott. And Scott, I remember people telling me that Scott was Jewish. And I didn't 100% know what that meant, and I started to figure out that it meant different than everyone else. So I always thought Scott was kind of interesting. And he had the first, this was in the 80s, he had the first, was Tarzan? I love it. He had the first set of Michael Jackson mirror glasses on our block. Good morning. So he was really cool, and he also hung out with a 7-year-old every once in a while. I thought he was really cool. He was 14. Took us into his house, played some music on a record player. We heard, I can't remember the name of the song now, but I remember thinking, oh my God, that's so amazing. This is popular music that I have only heard on the radio, and he's got it at his house. So he was really, really cool. Now you're showing your age, Al. I never had 45s. My dad did, though. We used to play them all the time. Anyway, so Scott would also, we had a big field across from our house. The ferrets are playing in a box of ping pong balls. That's the noise. We had this huge field across from our house, and Scott would go out and play with a football out there. Yep, it's like a ball pit for him. He'd go play with a football out there, and he invited us to come play, but what he invited us to come play was Smear the Queer. And I didn't know what that meant. I just knew that it meant you were going to tackle somebody that had the ball, and that was, different, was the person you didn't want to be. You didn't want to place, you didn't want to be the queer, because you were going to get tackled and hurt if you were queer, the queer. So, being 7, what did I know? I was just playing with the older kid that now I look back on and go, I must have had a crush on him. So that was a defining moment for me, especially when I got older, realizing what that meant, what it really truly meant. I thought I needed to get another syringe, but I don't. And so I avoided it. I avoided the word queer like the plague, because it became, just culturally it became a bad word. It was one of those words you shouldn't use. It was one of those words that defined who I was for other people, even though I wasn't out at the time. And so you didn't want to be associated with the word queer. And I just moved over here to do a little bit of water stuff for the farts. You didn't want to be associated with that. So I avoided it, and at a certain point, I don't think you can avoid not only who you are, but your past. And so as I've been going through some exploration of what's important to me about Coming Out Tarot, what's important to me about the work that I do. It was really important for me to come back to who I've been, where I've been, what I want to be, and how I can serve a broader queer community. Because the work that I've been doing has been taking me further than just, for those of you that are tarot readers, you may already know, you probably already know that women are predispositioned to being okay with tarot reading. Men take a little bit longer to get there. And there are some men who are more open to it than others, and that's generally because of their upbringing or their curiosity. I think that queer people are open to it because our lives have already taken a path that is alternative to what the norm is. So reaching the language of queer has been about serving a larger audience than just the label of I'm gay, I'm lesbian, I'm transgender, I'm a straight ally, I'm non-binary. All of the things that land under what we like to shove under this LGBTQIA, that we try and force all these things together. And they don't always need to be forced together. And I think the word queer serves two purposes for me. It's an umbrella term that allows for people to choose their own identity or to challenge my word. Because people won't challenge LGBTQIA plus whatever the 26 letters are. They won't challenge that, but they'll challenge queer and go, that's not me, that's not who I am. But if queer for me, and this is why I share this, if queer for me is that you went down an alternative path because whatever the heteronormative norm wasn't for you, to me that's queer. If you thought you were gay and realized that you were transgender, and then realized that yes, you're still gay, and it was just your gender that was different, and maybe you need to rethink the label of sexuality based on your gender, and that those two things are different, then still to me that's queer, and it falls under that rainbow family. I think it's Rhodes Perry who says that The Out Entrepreneur, the rainbow family is to me a queer family. It's that family of things are just skewed, and we can accept that we're skewed and off of what the normal beaten path is. And I think that's tarot, that's gay, that's all the things under the rainbow family. It's all that stuff. So I wanted to own that. I wanted to reclaim that. And for me, it was taking back what started my sense of otherness and the fear I had around it. And so I'm reclaiming that. So that's why you're seeing queer in a lot of my blog posts and the language that I'm using. And how I'm representing a larger community. So I want to put that out there and just share it. I will be back later around 6 o'clock-ish to do, looking for ferrets that I need to give medicine to do the coming out forecast, so I hope I'll see you then. See you later, Al. Thanks for hanging out.